Let's be honest. I'm the pretty one. You're the one MOM prays for. My twin sister Vanessa said this at her bridal shower, in front of 47 guests. While I was holding her champagne, everyone laughed. Not nervous laughter. Real laughter. The kind that comes from agreeing with something they'd all thought, but never said out loud. I set down the glass, grabbed my purse, and left through the kitchen. Nobody noticed. Nobody called. Nobody texted to ask if I was okay. That was 4 years ago. Last Tuesday, I walked into my sister's living room with a federal agent and a briefcase full of subpoenas. When she saw my face, she dropped her wine glass. Pinot Noir splattered across her white marble floors like a crime scene. Which technically it was. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Meredith Sinclair. I'm a certified fraud examiner and forensic accountant. I find where people hide money they've stolen, and I help the government take it back. Vanessa is my identical twin. Same face, same green eyes, same auburn hair. But growing up, everyone treated us like we were completely different species. Vanessa was the beautiful one, the charming one, the one who got modeling offers at the mall and homecoming queen nominations without trying. I was the quiet one, the one who read textbooks for fun, the one mom introduced as Vanessa's sister at family gatherings, like I didn't have my own name. When Vanessa married Derek Holloway, everyone called it the wedding of the year. Derek owned a chain of upscale Italian restaurants across the Southeast. 14 locations, 500 employees, a face that belonged on a magazine cover. At their reception, my mother pulled me aside and whispered, "See what happens when you try? Maybe if you wore more makeup, smiled more, you could find someone half as successful." I didn't mention that I'd just been promoted to senior forensic analyst at one of the top accounting firms in Atlanta. I didn't mention that my salary had crossed 6 figures that year. I didn't mention anything because with my family, I'd learned that silence was easier than fighting for attention I'd never win. For the next 4 years, I watched from the sidelines. Vanessa posted photos from their vacation home in Hilton Head, their wine-tasting trip to Napa, their anniversary dinner at a Michelin-starred restaurant in New York. My mother shared every post in the family group chat with heart emojis and comments like, "My beautiful daughter living her best life." She never shared my posts. Not when I got my CFE certification. Not when I was featured in a trade publication. Not when I bought my own condo with cash. But I kept working, kept building, kept getting better at finding the money people tried to hide. 3 months ago, I got a call from my firm's managing partner. "Meredith, the FBI has a case they want us to consult on. Restaurant chain. Suspected money laundering, tax evasion, possible securities fraud. They've requested you specifically because of your work on the Pemberton case." I felt a chill run down my spine. Which restaurant chain? Holloway Hospitality Group. 14 Italian restaurants. Owner is a guy named Derek Holloway. I sat in silence for a full 30 seconds. "Meredith? You there? I need to disclose something," I said. "Derek Holloway is married to my twin sister." There was a pause. "That's actually perfect. The FBI specifically wants someone who can get close to the family without raising suspicion. Someone who might already have access to their home, their conversations, their lifestyle. They want me to investigate my own sister's husband? They want you to follow the money, wherever it leads." I should have said no. I should have recused myself. Any ethical professional would have walked away. But I remembered Vanessa's words at her bridal shower. I remembered 47 people laughing at me. I remembered my mother's silence. "Send me the files," I said. For the next 10 weeks, I became a ghost in the financial system. I traced wire transfers through shell companies in Delaware. I found invoices for supplies that were never delivered. I discovered payroll records for employees who didn't exist. Derek Holloway wasn't just cheating on his taxes. He was running a sophisticated money laundering operation through his restaurants. Cash from sources I couldn't identify was being cleaned through fake catering orders and inflated supply costs. And then I found something worse. Hidden in a web of offshore accounts was a signature I recognized. Not Derek's. Vanessa's. My sister wasn't just married to a criminal. She was his partner. She had signing authority on 3 shell companies. She had transferred over $2 million to an account in the Cayman Islands. She had personally approved fake invoices totaling $800,000. The pretty one. The charming one. The one mom prayed for. Turns out she was a federal criminal. I compiled my report. Documented everything. Handed it to the FBI with a recommendation for immediate action. The lead agent, a woman named Patricia Okonkwo, looked at me with something like respect. This is the most thorough forensic analysis I've seen in 15 years. You found connections we missed for months. I'm good at finding things people try to hide, I said. There's one more thing, Agent Okonkwo said. We'd like you present when we execute the search warrant. Sometimes suspects are more cooperative when they see a familiar face. That's how I ended up on my sister's doorstep last Tuesday at 7 a.m., standing next to two federal agents with a warrant to seize financial records, computers, and any evidence of criminal activity. Derek answered the door in his bathrobe. When he saw the badges, his face went pale. When he saw me standing behind them, he actually stumbled backward. Meredith? What the hell is going on? Mr. Holloway, we have a federal warrant to search these premises, Agent Okonkwo said, stepping past him. Ms. Sinclair is here as our consulting forensic specialist. I heard heels clicking on marble. Vanessa appeared at the top of the stairs in silk pajamas, her hair perfect even at 7 a.m. Some things never change. Derek, what's happening? Why are there? She stopped. She saw me. Her eyes went wide. Meredith? I walked past Derek into the living room. The house was even more extravagant than the photos suggested. Original artwork. Imported furniture. A chandelier that probably cost more than most people's cars. All bought with dirty money. Vanessa descended the stairs slowly, her face cycling through confusion, fear, and finally settling on rage. What are you doing in my house? I opened my briefcase and pulled out a document. Vanessa Holloway, this is a federal subpoena for financial records related to Cayman National Trust account ending in 7834. Your signature appears on 17 wire transfers totaling $2.3 million. Her wine glass, she'd been carrying wine at 7 a.m., slipped from her fingers and shattered on the marble floor. You, she whispered. You did this. No, Vanessa. You did this. I just found it. Derek was shouting at his lawyer on the phone. Agents were carrying boxes of documents out to a van. And Vanessa just stood there, surrounded by broken glass and spilled wine, staring at me like she was seeing me for the first time. How? She asked. How did you even? You're nobody. You're nothing. You work in some boring office doing boring math. I smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. That boring math? It's called forensic accounting. And I'm one of the best in the country. The FBI specifically requested me for this case. They didn't know you were my sister. But I did. Her face crumpled. For a moment, I saw a flash of the little girl I'd grown up with. The one who used to hold my hand during thunderstorms. The one who shared her Halloween candy with me. The one who became someone else when she realized beauty was a currency she could spend. Meredith, please. We're sisters. We're twins. You can't do this to family. Family? I stepped closer to her, close enough to see my own face reflected in her terrified eyes. You told 47 people I was nothing. You let Mom treat me like I was invisible. You never once asked about my life, my work, my achievements. And now you want to talk about family? Agent Okonkwo appeared beside me. Ms. Sinclair, we've found the safe. We need your expertise. I turned away from my sister without another word. The safe contained exactly what I expected. Cash, bearer bonds, and enough documentation to put both Derek and Vanessa away for years. I cataloged everything while my sister sobbed in the living room, and my brother-in-law screamed at lawyers who couldn't help him. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Derek was arrested that afternoon. Vanessa was arrested 2 days later, after trying to flee to her parents' house. The charges included money laundering, tax evasion, wire fraud, and conspiracy. My mother called me that night, hysterical. How could you do this? She's your sister. She's family. You've destroyed her life. She destroyed her own life, Mom. I just documented it. You were always jealous of her. Always. This is revenge, isn't it? Because she was prettier, more successful, more loved. More loved, I repeated quietly. You're right about that. She was more loved. And look where that love got her. I hung up, blocked her number. For the first time in my life, I chose silence for myself, not to keep the peace. The trial was 6 months later. I testified for 11 hours over 2 days. Every question, every document, every transaction I'd traced, laid out in meticulous detail. The defense tried to discredit me, calling me a jealous sibling with a vendetta. The prosecutor shut that down immediately. Ms. Sinclair disclosed her relationship to the defendants before accepting this case. The FBI specifically requested her because of her expertise. And every single finding in her report has been independently verified. If anything, her personal connection made her more thorough, not less. Derek got 12 years. Vanessa got 8. Their assets were seized, the house, the vacation home, the restaurant chain. All of it gone. After the verdict, I walked out of the courthouse into the Atlanta sunshine. Reporters wanted statements. I gave them nothing. But as I reached my car, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned to see my father, a man I hadn't spoken to in months, standing there with tears in his eyes. "Meredith," he said. "Just my name. Nothing else." I waited. "I'm sorry," he finally said. "I'm sorry we never saw you. I'm sorry we made you feel invisible. I'm sorry it took something this terrible to make me realize what we did to you." I looked at my father for a long moment. The man who never came to my graduations, who never asked about my promotions, who never once told me he was proud of me. "I don't need your apology, Dad. I stopped needing anything from this family a long time ago." I got in my car and drove away. In my rearview mirror, I saw him standing alone on the courthouse steps. That was 3 weeks ago. Yesterday, I got a call from the FBI. They want me to lead a new task force focused on restaurant industry fraud. It's a promotion. A big one. My name will be on the door. I said yes. Tonight, I'm sitting in my condo, the one I bought with money I earned, doing work I'm proud of, and I'm thinking about what Vanessa said at her bridal shower. "I'm the pretty one. You're the one Mom prays for." She was right about one thing. Mom did pray for me. She prayed I'd find a man. She prayed I'd be more like my sister. She prayed I'd stop being so boring and quiet and invisible. But maybe she should have prayed for Vanessa instead. Prayed that beauty wouldn't become a trap. Prayed that easy money wouldn't lead to easy crime. Prayed that the daughter everyone loved wouldn't end up in a federal prison, losing everything she thought made her special. I pour myself a glass of wine, a good one, from a vineyard I discovered on my own trip to Napa, taken alone, and I raise it to the empty room. To being nothing, I say out loud. To being invisible. To being the one nobody noticed. I take a sip. Until I was everything that mattered. My phone buzzes. It's a text from Agent Okonkwo. "Saw the news about your promotion. Congratulations. You earned it." I smile and type back. Just doing boring math. Outside my window, the city lights flicker like possibilities. Tomorrow, I start my new job. Tomorrow, I lead a team. Tomorrow, I keep doing what I do best, finding the truth people try to bury. But tonight, I sit with the silence. Not the silence of being ignored. The silence of being complete. Vanessa got the beauty. Mom said I got nothing. But I got something better. I got the skills to see what others hide. The patience to wait. The strength to walk away from people who never deserved me. And in the end, that was everything.